So in today's webinar, we're going to be talking about how to create an email in Constant Contact. And I find that it's easier to teach folks by actually doing. So we're going to actually create an email in today's webinar. This webinar is live, so you're actually have a real person on who's going to be demonstrating as we go along. That is wonderful, and it also poses some issues sometimes with internet and so on. So be patient. Your screen will lag behind just a couple of seconds from what I'm talking about, but be patient. It'll show up. My name is Kimberly Beer, and I've been an authorized local expert and solution provider with Constant Contact for over 6 years now. I can't tell you how much I believe in this product to help small business owners really be successful at converting prospects into customers and then keeping those customers long term. So I also know that probably the biggest barrier to people using Constant Contact is getting them to actually create their first email or to be able to create their email successfully. So in today's presentation, I'm going to talk to you about what I consider the 4 qualities of a really good marketing email. That it be branded, so you show up as you, so people recognize you and don't mark you as spam because they think someone's emailing them that they don't know. Emails need to be, the second quality would be concise. In today's world, keeping emails short and sweet is really important. And then also valuable and actionable. So 2 other things that we're going to talk about. The number one reason people unsubscribe from email lists doesn't have to do with the frequency of being sent email. It has to do with the relevance of the content in the email. They often will find it irrelevant, and so they will unsubscribe from your email. I got a big giggle out of the fact that I had an unsubscribe last week who just says, I'm reducing the amount of email. You're just simply a victim of the downsizing in my life. Please don't take it personally. I also unsubscribe to the Pope. So, but typically the reason for unsubscriptions isn't the frequency of email, it's the content. If it's really valuable, whether it comes from me, you, or the Pope, then those emails will continue to get received and opened. So it's really important to think about that stuff ahead of time. So, and do want to point out one thing about GoToWebinar. GoToWebinar does have a question panel where you can ask me questions as we're moving along. If I don't get to your question right when you ask it, please be patient. I will get to it, I promise, if not during the presentation at the end. Most of the time, they pop up on a second screen I have in my studio here, so I can read them, and most of the time I get to them while I am doing the presentation. All right, let's dive right in. So for our email today, we're going to pretend that we are promoting the Kansas City Pet Project, which is a no-kill animal shelter located in Kansas City, Missouri, which is just a little bit north of where I live. And this organization has a great mission, and I adore them, and they are also Constant Contact users. But more importantly than that, they offer us an opportunity to be able to look at how to send out an email that applies for a nonprofit organization or a for-profit organization or services, basically anything that you are doing, whether you're manufacturing a product or selling a service or wanting donations, you can extrapolate that from what we're going to do for this email today. So we're going to create an email in Constant Contact that features their calendar that they have up for sale and lets people know how they might get that, a video on their volunteers, and also features an animal that is available for adoption. So if you will think about that as a featured story in your email, as well as maybe a product or a service instead of maybe a featured animal, and then a video that you might want to feature in your emails as well. That'll give you an opportunity to take a look at all of those different items. I'm also going to show you a couple of other little things inside of Constant Contact that will save you an immense amount of time, and some tools outside of Constant Contact that you might want to use. All right, back to our Constant Contact account. We're going to just dive right on in. If you have a If you have a trial account or if you're brand new, your screen when you log in, your dashboard will not look like this. It'll have some messages about click here to create your first email. If you've been with Constant Contact a while, all you have to do is click the big orange create button, and that's going to bring up the opportunity to select a campaign to get started. Constant Contact comes in two flavors. One flavor is basic email, and everything that I'm going to do in the presentation today is included in that basic email flavor. So it's pretty straightforward. There is also a email plus program which allows you to do some things beyond what that basic email does, and it allows you to collect event registrations, survey your folks, and then even create some things around social media and donations if you have a nonprofit. You don't have to have the email plus to be successful with your email marketing, but it does offer you another suite of tools as a small business owner to be able to do some things beyond just email marketing while still utilizing your email marketing list. If you're interested in email plus, please let me or your other ALE know, and we will be happy to talk to you about what that expressly would mean. However, all we're doing today is we're creating an email. So I'm going to click on send an email. That's primarily what you'll be doing with Constant Contact, is just sending out a marketing email. When I click on send an email, that brings up some template selections. And here's another place where there's two types of Constant Contact. If you have been a Constant Contact subscriber for a period of time, you will be using what we call our traditional or classic editor. And there's a new editor. It's called the drag and drop editor or next generation editor. And it is oh so amazing. And it's what our demonstration is going to be in today. But if you've had Constant Contact for a while, you have to make an extra click to get there. Now, if you're brand new to Constant Contact, chances are you're going to drop right into the next generation editor. However, if you look up here in the upper right-hand corner of your Constant Contact screen and see View New Templates, that's where you're going to want to click. That's the magic portal to the next generation editor. And I recommend everybody start to use the next generation editor. Not only is it way cooler and way easier, it is mobile responsive on a very high level. Not that our other templates were not mobile friendly and mobile responsive, but this one is super cool. And we're going to talk about that a little bit as we go through the presentation. But remember to click View New Templates. You'll know you're in the right place because you'll see View Legacy Templates. If you do not have this as a choice and the editor that you are dropped into looks different from what I am about to start the presentation in, then just simply come up here to the question mark and click on it, and there will be a toll-free number, which sometimes is different depending upon where you live, especially if you're international. And that toll-free number will get you to a service representative for Constant Contact, and they will be happy to hook you up with the next generation editor. All right, so here are our templates, and this is a place where a lot of folks get stumbled up. They think, oh my goodness, I have so many choices, and then they end up not making a choice, or they think they've made the wrong choice. I can tell you that you can't make a wrong choice here, but you also don't have to find something that absolutely is perfect for what you want to do. You just need to find something that can be a jumping off point for whatever it is that you're creating. So if you're just wanting to send out a really basic email, you can pick the blank template or the basic newsletter template or a basic card flyer. Or if you are stretching for something to do and it's you feel like you can do something seasonal, where on St. Patrick's Day, by the way, these change according to what season it is. It's St. Patrick's Day right now, and spring, but around Valentine's Day, it'll be Valentine's Day. Christmas will, of course, be Christmas. So, and here's Easter. We already have Easter templates out. Spring is just around the corner, right? So you can choose one of those templates. We also have templates that are associated with specific industries, such as restaurants and florists. And so you can pick according to that. Truthfully, don't agonize about this decision. Just grab one and go, is my opinion. I happen to like this announcement template because it has color blocking, and I think that's really nice. As a graphic designer, I kind of like that. So I'm going to go ahead and click on select to open that up in my editor. Now, like all drag and drop software for online creation of anything, whether it be images or websites, you basically have a building block situation here. So remember back when you were a kid and you played with building blocks? That's a lot how Constant Contact works. So in our Canvas area, which is where our email opens, we have several blocks. And as if I scroll over them, you can see that each of the blocks is highlighted as I continue to roll my mouse up and down the email. And you will also see out to the left, there is a little menu that pops up. One is the four-way tool, and then we also have a edit tool that gives us a trash can and a duplicate. So we can do a couple of things there as well. Okay, so if you want to move a block inside your email, all you have to do is hover your mouse over it. You don't even need to grab the four-way tool. Click, hold, and drag. And as you drag, you will notice a magenta line appear. That magenta line is going to represent where that particular block will fall when you release the mouse button. So when it's in the position you want it to be, release your mouse button, and that's where your item will fall, that particular block. If you no longer, or if you want to duplicate a block, click on the gear, click on duplicate, and there that block is duplicated. If you no longer want that block, click on the trash can. So gear and trash can, gear and trash can. So that's the basics of on the canvas. Now, to add blocks other than duplicating it, you have a whole bunch of palettes over here to the left. You have your build palette, and you have some layouts that are sort of predefined if you want to utilize those. Everything I'm going to do today is going to be contained up in these top 3 tabs up here. It's going to be in my build area, it'll be in my images area, or in my design area. So if you want to add something from this particular palette to your email, all you have to do is grab onto it, drag it over here, and it will fall within that magenta line. Wherever that is, it's going to fall into that spot. So if I want to drag a picture. So remember when I told you the very first thing I said was that we needed to make sure our emails were branded. So my 4 qualities of a good email is that it be branded, concise, valuable, and actionable. And when it comes to branding, we want to make sure that our email looks like it represents our company. So right now, if we look at our email and we look at our website, we can sort of see a discrepancy. The website's a lot of blue and brown. The email is a lot of pink. And there's also a beautiful little happy animal logo, and I don't see that anywhere on my email. So I'd like to start out my branding by putting my logo on this particular email. Once you have created a few emails in Constant Contact, your images will be stored in your image library, and your logo is typically one of the first things you upload. So I'm just going to show you how easy it is to grab your logo from your Images tab on your Build palette and be able to pull it over. So all I have to do is locate the logo, click, hold, and drag. Once I drag, my magenta line appears, and I drop my logo in, and there it is in my email. Pretty cool, right? I can resize the logo by using this blue box down here with the arrows to make it smaller or bigger if I want to do so. In this case, remember, one of my big qualities for a good marketing email is concise. So I'm going to be very respectful of the real estate that I take up in creating my email, and I'm going to make that logo just a little smaller. Now, at this point, I've made a couple of changes to my email, and it would probably be a really good idea for me to give my email a specific name. Every email in Constant Contact must have a name that is unique. You can't name an email the same the same thing 2 times. So Constant Contact gives you these wonderful names like Untitled Campaign Created with the date and the time, because that way you get a unique name every time. But it makes it a little hard if I want to go back and find this email a little bit later. So I'm just going to say February 28, marketing email 2017, just so it's designated. And I'm going to click on save. And that's going to give my email a name. By the way, I got that by just clicking on the name in the upper left-hand corner up here. Now, as I go along, Constant Contact is being really handy and saving my email for me. But if I want to make sure, I can always hit the save button here and make sure that my email saves appropriately. So branding, again, is really, really important. And the colors in my email represent the brand that I am putting forward to people. And obviously that hot pink is not going to work, where I want to have this blue color. Now, I could spend a whole lot of time, and by the way, all the colors are here under my design tab in my palette, guessing what color blue this really is. Or I can use something called a color picker to get the hexadecimal code for that color blue, so I can tell Constant Contact exactly what color I want it to use. Now, we are watching this presentation on a Macintosh computer today. So what I'm going to use is a product called Color Snapper. Now, if you're using a Mac, Color Snapper is available from your app store. I'm going to send you a link to their website right now in your chat area. But it is available from the app store. I think it was $9.99 or something the last time that I looked. And you pay once and then it's good for a really long time. So I'm going to demonstrate this, and then Windows folks, bear with me because I'm going to tell you some choices that you have. So I'm going to launch Color Snapper from down here in my menu, and it appears up here in the upper toolbar on the Mac. I'm going to load the page, or have available the page where I want to grab the color blue for Kansas City Pet Project, and then I'm going to click on pick the color picker and then pick color. Once that happens, I get a loop. And I'm going to hover that loop over the color blue that I want and click. And you'll notice that up here in the top, it gives me the hexadecimal code. Now, for those of you who are going, wow, that was fast, I'd never be able to write that down. You don't have to. It copied it to my computer's clipboard. So now back in Constant Contact, all I have to do is hover over the color I want to change, click on More Colors, highlight the hexadecimal code, right click and paste, and click apply, and that makes it that blue color. Now, the really awesome part about this, even though that's red down here, is that now that color is saved to my recent colors, so I don't even have to do that again. All I got to do is just go grab the recent color of blue, and now my email is starting to look a little bit more like it belongs to the Kansas City Pet Project. So for those of you who do not have Macintosh computers, you can get a version or a product like Color Snapper for Windows. I'm going to give you a link to, it's called an HTML color picker. And I'm going to send you a link to a website. I'm going to warn you, you may have to answer a question when you load the website the first time, where you can find 4 or 5 different options for color pickers. The only one that I've had any experience with has been Color Cop, and it worked sufficiently well and is free. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of that. And if you guys are interested, you can find those links in your chat area. All right, back to our email. The next thing I want to do is I want to be able to add an image in here that more portrays what it is that I want to do. Remember, I talked to you in the beginning that I want to highlight the calendar. So I want to get the calendar picture up here, and I'm going to just use my screen capture on my computer to just take a snapshot of the picture on my on my screen. So if you're using a Macintosh, that would be Command-Shift-4 to be able to get that. If you're using a PC, I'm pretty sure you probably have figured out how to do a screen capture by now. And if you are just really not wanting to use your screen capture software for your specific operating system, you can get a product for free called Jing from a company called TechSmith. I'm going to send that to you right now. And it gives you the same capability that I just had to take a screenshot. So I sent that to you in your chat link as well. All right, back to our email. So this image here, I want to change to that image of the calendar. So I'm going to already have an image in place. So I'm going to click on the image. I'm going to click on the word replace, and then I'm going to upload. We're going to ignore the fact there are a bunch of these already in my library. We're going to upload that image from my computer. So right here is my upload button. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And I can drag and drop, or I can browse. And in this case, it's just easier for me to browse with all of the webinar software running. So I'm going to click on Browse My Computer, which is going to open up a set of windows. And in that set, let's see, we want to go to Desktop. And we're going to grab the screenshot from this morning, and we're going to click on Open. And when I click on Open, there's my picture. So now I'm going to click on Upload, and then that picture is now going to be added to my library where I can access it for future use if I would like to do so. And once that's finished, we'll be able to confirm, and then our images are available for us. The thing about loading, you have a 2 GB box with Constant Contact. So you're probably not going to fill that up very quickly. I have a client who uses a lot of images, and she hasn't even gotten close to it yet. So we're pretty confident that that 2 GB is going to last you a really long time. So Nancy has asked me, do I have a presentation using a computer other than a Mac? And Nancy, no, I don't. We only use Macs here in our office, but it's exactly the same thing on a PC. All of the software that Constant Contact is using is online, so it's just within your browser. And I'm using Firefox as my browser, which is available for the PC as well. I would recommend that if you are using a PC that you not use Internet Explorer, that you do use Firefox or Chrome, because they're just simply less problematic than Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer tends to be the one where all kinds of software gets errors. So, and the screenshot software, it works for both Mac and PC as well, and it kind of exactly in the same way. All right, so we have our image dropped in to our newsletter, and now we want to highlight what that particular image is about. So we would want to type into our headline here, by your 2017 KCPP calendar. And then, of course, we would probably want to talk here about what specifically they need to do to get that calendar. However, we want, if they click on this image, for them to go to the page where they can get information about the calendar. So on my website, I'm going to go ahead and navigate to that page by following the link from the home page. And then I'm going to copy the URL from up here in the upper right hand or upper left hand corner. So I'm going to right click and copy, come back to my email, click on my picture, click on the word link, and I'm going to right click and paste, and then click on insert. Now, when somebody clicks on this picture, they're going to be taken directly to the page that talks about the KCPP 2017 calendar on the website. So that, remember my 4 qualities of a good email, that is branded, concise, actionable, and valuable. And this kind of falls into the actionable and valuable components as well. So it's actionable because it's clickable, and it's valuable because who doesn't want a calendar with a bunch of really cute animals on it? All right, back to my branding. One of the reasons I love this color bar is so that I can put in the name of the company. One of the best practices that I can give you for email marketing is don't rely on the images to tell people who you are. In other words, we don't want them to have to see the KC Pet Project logo to know that this email is from the KC Pet Project. When you send an email, sometimes the images don't get displayed with that email. And if your logo and your name, or your name is only in your logo, then it's hard for whoever's receiving the email to figure out who that email came from. So I always just type it into this little blue bar. And because it's a small name, I add a little tagline. So to make a block with type, all you have to do is click on it, and then it's just like a word processor, and you get a word processor type toolbar along with it. So for example, I can highlight this, I can center it, I can make it bold, and I could also make it a bigger font size if I want to. And then I can click on done. I also can make my logo linkable to the website. And it is a good best practice to always link every image in your email to something out there on the web. So now if people click on the logo, they'll go directly to the website. If they click on the calendar, they'll go to the calendar page on the website. All right, visually, I like to draw a little bit of white space and division between each of my segments in my email. So I'm going to add a little divider line here because the next thing I'm going to do is feature an animal that is available for adoption on the website. I want to use a picture for that animal, and then I'd also like to use that animal's description. So I'm going to grab a text block, and here is something really cool. Hold on to your hat for this one. I'm going to make 2 columns. So see, my magenta line fell over to the right. I'm going to let it go, and now I have an image to the left and my text to the right. I also would like a button so people really know that they can find out more information about this specific animal. So I'm going to drag and drop, and I want that button to fall under the picture. So now I have my picture, my button, and my text. So I've laid out my little area for my adoptable animal, their picture, a button to visit their profile, and their text about them. So now I'm going to go to my website, and I'm going to look at the animals that are available for adoption. Look at that face. And all he is a number. I can't wait till he gets one. So I'm going to scroll down through here, and I'm going to find, I've been doing cats and rats lately. So let's find a puppy dog or a bunny to be able to feature for today. How about, let's do cowboy. Hopefully cowboy has a description. Oh, cowboy has a video, no less. So we could even feature his video. Perfect. Okay. I happen to love this picture of him. Faces always work best. So I'm going to show you one other way that you can put a picture in an email. And you may say, why would you want to do this? Well, it used to be because you wanted to reserve space in your Constant Contact account for more images, but we kind of loosened up on that, so it's not a big deal. But oftentimes, if it's not an image that you're going to use over and over again, it's really just easy to grab the URL, and then you don't even have to go through the upload download process. So let me explain what I mean, because I kind of got ahead of myself there. This image is stored out on the web, and I can tell Constant Contact to go get it from the place that it's stored. To get where it's stored, I just right click on it and click on copy image location. And what that does is it copies the image location to my computer's clipboard. So I'm going to paste and go. And so you can see it's just the image when I put the URL in. So back to my email. I'm going to click on the image here. I'm going to click on insert image. So I'm clicking on the placeholder. And instead of going to my library or uploading an image, I'm going to use this tab for image URL. And I'm going to paste that URL that I copied into the dialog box and click on preview. And there's our sweet cowboy. So I'm going to click on insert. So there's his picture. Now I would want his picture and this button both to go to Cowboy's profile. So I'm going to come back over here to Cowboy's profile for animal details. I'm going to copy the URL here. So I'm just copying the address for this page. I'm going back to my email, and I'm going to make the link clickable and the button clickable to that page, or the photo clickable. So I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click on link, right click, paste, and then I'm going to click on insert. And then here under visit our website, I'm going to say learn more about Cowboy. Now, for those of you who have had Constant Contact for a while, buttons have always been a little bit of a nuisance, because if you had more than the text that was already on there, sometimes it was hard. Now look at how much I can type, so I could keep going, and it just makes the button bigger. It's so cool. I'm going to take that off, and now I'm going to click link and paste that URL in, so that now if they click on this button to learn more about Cowboy, they'll be able to get right to that page about him. All right, back to my animal details. Now I want to copy his description. So I'm just going to take a first few sentences here. I'm going to copy it. Somebody was having a good time writing this description for this little dog. I love when the volunteers get so into what they're writing. So I'm going to copy take what's there, highlight it, and erase it. And then I'm going to right click, paste, and there's Cowboy's text. I might want to add a little return there. When it comes to text in your email, be skimpy with what you put on there. 20 lines or fewer of text is actually what Constant Contact recommends. Remember, I said concise was one of my qualities of a good email. It does need to be concise. All right, for as far as this button is concerned, I don't like this white space over here. I think I kind of like that button to go underneath both columns. So I'm going to grab my button. I'm going to pull it until my magenta line falls all the way across the email, and then drop it. And then now my button is underneath. All right, I'm going to go ahead and grab another divider line and put it in here. Whoops, went in the wrong spot. I want it to go all the way across. There we go. Now, for those of you who look at this and say, okay, this is really nice. I'd like to be able to have images like that in my emails. I'd like to be able to do some of that stuff, but I'll bet she has access to Photoshop and I don't. So I have a couple of tools for you that will be really helpful for you to be able to create good images for your website. For your emails. PicMonkey is my favorite one, and I'm going to put that particular link in your chat box so that you can go check out PicMonkey. PicMonkey it lets you edit images that you already have. It lets you add text as an overlay. It lets you do filters, and it's free, like our favorite four-letter word, free. For most of that, you do have to put up with a little ad at the bottom of the page. They're actually pretty decent ads, so I wouldn't even get too worried about that. They do have a paid version that will exclude the ads, and I think it is an incredibly expensive, like $19 or $29 a year. Let me put it this way. It's not a lot, and you get access to some more features. So PicMonkey is a great little product. I absolutely love it. It is well worth the investment for you to go and look at. It is perfect if you have your own images. If you don't have your own images and you want to use some stock imagery without getting involved in a stock subscription, Canva is a really good program to utilize with some stock imagery. Basically, what you do is you create an image and you work on it until it's done. And then once you press the I'm done with it button, then you can't make any more changes to it, but you also get a license for that particular image. There is a small fee associated with Canva. I have a colleague who absolutely, she lives her life by Canva. So I always talk about it. It's not something I use personally, but I think that it's just from Jen's endorsement. I trust her and I think it's merited if you want to take a look at it. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a video to our email. So I'm going to pop over here to the volunteer page for the Kansas City Pet Project, and I'm going to click on the word share for this wonderful volunteer video. This video happens to be on YouTube, and so I'm going to go ahead and copy the link location. Actually, I'm going to copy the link. I don't want to copy the location. I'm just going to copy the link right here off the video. Or I could have opened the video up in YouTube and copied the URL from up at the top. The important part is that it came from YouTube for what I'm about to show you. And I'm going to show you an alternate method if your videos are not hosted on YouTube. So I have a video button here. So I'm going to click, drag, and put it into my email. And then I'm going to click on the placeholder and then on edit. When I click on edit, it's going to open a dialog box for the YouTube URL. I'm going to paste that in, and then it's going to pull up the thumbnail for that particular image or for that particular video, place a play button over the top of it, and then I can click on insert, and that's going to drop that into my email. Now, I want you to know that the video is not actually in the email. It is an embedded link to the video on YouTube. So when someone clicks this, it's going to open their browser and go directly to YouTube and start the video. Just like the Cowboys profile will open another web page, that's exactly how this works. The box here for the YouTube video, this only works for YouTube videos right now. If you have a video hosted on like Vimeo or Blip, then what you can do is exactly what I did with this KCPP calendar image. I would go to the page where the video is, take a screenshot of the video on that page, and then put the video screenshot on my email, and then link directly to it in Vimeo or Blip or Animoto or wherever your video happens to be playing. But if it's on YouTube, it's super easy. Boom, 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 you're done. Now, for videos, when you put them in your email, it is a best practice to put some text underneath it to tell people what the video is about, and also the length and why they would want to watch it, or a call to action after they've watched it. So you just want to put that information underneath the video. All right, for our email that we have right now, this pretty well takes care of the length that I would like to do. I have a couple more things I want to show you, but we're going to finish this up and kind of preview it to look at it as sort of a complete email. Down at the bottom of your email, there are social buttons. If you happen to pick a template that does not have these buttons, they're available with the social block right here. But you do have to do a little due diligence with these guys. So I'm going to click on them and show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to click and edit. So if I don't want LinkedIn, I'm going to click the trash can. And if I want to add a different network, so maybe I want to add YouTube and Instagram, all I have to do is click them off of the add a network button. When you get the networks that you want on the page, you need to make sure that those network locations go to wherever it is that you're at on that particular platform. So you want it to go to your Facebook page, to your Twitter account, to your YouTube channel, to your Instagram account, not just generic Instagram. And you need to check these every once in a while. I recommend with every email that you send out, because if you have multiple people getting into your email account, sometimes these get mussed up. So you want to make sure that they're going to the right places. So I'm going to go ahead and click on insert, and it automatically changes those little icons for me, including your social in your email, and your email on your social is kind of like Reese's peanut butter cups. It all just works better together. All right, one other part that we need to address, and that is our header up here. So I'm going to click on that. This opens up your ability to change the from name, the from email, the subject, and the pre-header. And all of these things, to me, I spend more time agonizing about the subject line than I spend writing content for emails. I can tell you that hands down without a doubt. In the from name, you should not, and I'm going to be honest, what's in there right now is a case in point of what not to do in this area. And let me explain to you the mistakes here. In the from name, it's this generic topic. And this is my demo account for Constant Contact. So nothing in here is real. These emails never get sent. If they do get sent, they get sent to fake addresses. So, the from name is Constant Contact ALE. Who's going to open that? From email is this generic email. It's in a name, but it comes from Gmail. That's a big no-no. You should always use in the from email a person's name at yourbusiness.com. Don't use orders or info or those really generic email address at yourbusiness.com. Also, don't use yourbusiness@gmail.com or your name at gmail.com. Those are all big indicators to either the recipient or spam bots that this email is not legit. So use a name at yourbusiness.com. I recommend in the from name because from is typically how people determine whether or not they're going to read the subject line. They'll look at the from name, and if it's from someone they recognize, then they'll move on to the subject line. If you don't have someone they recognize in the from name, or it seems really generic or corporate, a lot of times they'll move right on. So put that from name from someone that is recognizable. And you can also put a company name in there. I'm going to use Callie the cat at KCPP. So you can use a mascot. I have a client who sends emails from her dog. Her dog's emails get opened up. They remember the dog more than they remember her. They remember his name because he's pretty unforgettable. So use this discretionary wise. A lot of people use whoever is the face of their company. And for the from email, again, you want to use that from a name at acompany.com. This one happens to be misspelled, which is why it's not correct. You can verify more than one email address, and if you type it in here, it will, and it's not verified, it will ask you to do that. In order to not receive an error, I got to change it back. In the subject line, what you want to do is do something cute or fun or has a question. Numbers work really well. Literary devices such as onomatopoeia, alliteration, chunking, which is 3 things right in a row, listed. All of those devices work really well to get people to open up emails. If you want to be better at writing subject lines, I recommend that you head over to Amazon or your bookstore or your library and look at books that talk about how to write headlines. Headlines and subject lines are the same basic thing. And those how to write a good headline books will teach you how to write a good subject line. In this case, we're going to say, how do you make a dog smile? ? And the pre-header is a little piece of text that appears either right before or right after the subject line in your email client, which is how you read email. So the subscriber will see it. Please understand that what goes in this pre-header area, not everyone sees it. So don't make it your subject line contingent on what is in the pre-header. For example, I am blind and I have the font on my iPhone cranked up so big that it completely excludes the pre-header. So I don't ever even see it. So just be aware that this is not always seen, but you also shouldn't leave it blank. So something like you don't want to miss this is absolutely perfect for that area. All right, so now our email is pretty well ready to send. So I'm going to click on preview just to see what it's going to look like from my subscriber's point of view. And in the preview screen, the first thing I see is the desktop preview, and it looks a whole lot like what I just saw in my editor. So it's pretty much what you see is what you get. However, if I click on the mobile view, I want you to notice things change, especially with Cowboy's little block down here. So I'm going to click on it. And now you can see that Cowboy's block is all in one column. That is what mobile responsive is about. It understands that this email is being viewed on a mobile device, and so it changes the format accordingly. So there's our little cowboy dog and our logo. And you can see I have 3 full screen fulls. I would not want this email to be any longer than it currently is because on a cell device, it's just simply too much. If I could get it down to 2 screen fulls, I would probably opt for that. My logic is to send out more frequent emails with less information. You actually get to make more impact, I think. If I want to send a test email, so let's say I have a boss that needs to see the email, or I do email by committee, I can click on send a test email. I can put in up to 5 email addresses here and send the test email, and they will get an email that just says this is a test and can give you feedback on it. So we're going to head back to edit. There are a couple of other things that I want to show you with this particular email, and actually one that I think is so amazing. If you happen to do a blog post, and I'm going to pull up a client of mine's website who does blogs every week, there's a feature called Read More, and it's located behind the magic plus sign. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the plus sign and drag my Read More block over here to my email. And when you look at this, you'll be like, why would anyone ever want to put that in their email? But if you have a blog, watch this. With just a couple of clicks, I can insert my blog into my email without having to do a lot of uploading, downloading, screenshotting, copying, pasting, URLing, and so on and so forth. So on the blog, there are a couple of things. It has to be a blog, and you have to actually be on the blog post. So we're going to pick the one about the flu. And it has to be the URL that goes right to that particular blog post. So I'm going to copy that URL and go back to Constant Contact. Now here in this, I'm going to click on it and I only get one option, edit. And in the edit, I can only do one thing, which is paste in that URL. When I paste it in, Constant Contact goes and grabs the featured image. It grabs the title, it grabs a couple of lines from the text and a read more. You cannot change these things. This is just the way it's displayed, but it's displayed perfectly. So you don't have to worry about it doing anything. You just click on insert and ba-boom, there is your blog post right in your email. And it's done within just like a couple of clicks. So remember I told you valuable is a really important component of a good marketing email. This lets you create valuable emails because you create your blog to be read, to be streamified out into the world. And email is an absolute perfect way for you to do that. And here within just 3 or 4 clicks, boom, I have my blog post in my email ready to go. And honestly, my blog post in an email is probably all I need to send out. Maybe the blog post in an email with a call to action under it for, in this case, this person is a coach. So it would be a free consultation. If you have a service business, maybe it's a free consultation. If you have a nonprofit, it's whatever your upcoming event is, or donate. If you have a product for sale, it's a buy now button. So it's just really super cool to be able to have that read more. If you have Email Plus, you can also add a poll or an RSVP for an upcoming event, and more blocks will be available in this area in the future. All right, now that our email is ready to rock and roll out of here, we can go ahead and schedule it. So I'm going to click on the word continue, and that's going to take me to the scheduling portion of my email process. Now, when I schedule, I can schedule emails out in advance if I want to, or I can do send now. I have another webinar, and we actually have one starting at noon Central Time today. I can't remember if it's the reports or list growth. I think it's the list growth one, where I talk about creating sign-up forms and such. But I have another webinar. If you go to kimbeerseminars.com and the upcoming events, there will be webinars listed. I teach 2 advanced constant contact webinars a month, one on lists and reporting, and then one on contacts and reporting, and one on growing your list. So if you're interested in learning those 2 topics, you can attend one of those. They're like this one, they're free. So when I'm ready to send my email out, I want to pick the people that it's going to go to. So in this case, I'm going to pick April adopters. We featured a dog, so we probably wouldn't want to do cat lovers. So we're going to do dog lovers, and we'll do February 2016. So you'll see right here that I have 3 lists chosen and 22 recipients. Now, I'm going to tell you the same people are on all 3 of these lists. I only have a contact database in here of like 40 people. And so there's going to be duplicates of person that's on the February 26th list, who's on the dog lovers for donations list, who's on the April adopters list. So those people will only receive 1 copy of the email, although they are counted 3 times in this total. So just be aware, and that little pop-up explains basically what I just said. At this point, I can make changes to the subject line or the from line, and then I can go ahead and hit schedule later. I can choose a date out into the future as to what time I want to send that email, and then I click on schedule. A lot of people ask me what is the best time to send an email, and I can only tell you that it depends on who you're sending it to. You want to send your email when your specific target market is the most available to receive a marketing message. So think about what they have, what their schedule is like. And the best way for me to explain how relevant this is just to tell you a little story. I give presentations in Kansas City a lot, and I gave one to a group of mommy entrepreneurs. These are women who developed products around motherhood because they're mothers themselves. One of the ladies in the group had developed a product that helped moms directly home from the hospital that were breastfeeding be able to soothe that process easier. She was in my group, but she was with her second baby at that time. She even has baby in her lap. Tells me when I'm talking about times for sending and relevance to the target market, she raises her hand and says, the other morning, I sent an email out at 3 a.m. because I was up with the baby because he couldn't sleep and I couldn't go back to sleep after I fed him. So I sent an email out and I got more response than I have ever gotten in the past. Why? Because her target market was up at that point in time. So it's very dependent upon who you're sending that email to as to when the best time it is to send that particular email. All right. If you want to change this email now that it has been scheduled, you will have to unschedule it. You can do that here in the confirmation page or anywhere where you see this actions menu. You can click on unschedule. Once an email is actually sent, that means it's been sent out, this email link here will become available. You can copy it now and put it in things, but once it's published, then this link becomes a little miniature website that features your email. So you can share it with people who aren't on your email list. And a wonderful thing is it puts a little join my list button on there as well. It is always a good idea unless you have some special reason not to, which means that the information inside the email is proprietary or for the people who are on the list only. But for most of us marketing, we want as broad a brush as we can get for getting people interested in what we're doing. You can actually schedule posts on your social networks using social share, which is the scheduling button down here at the bottom. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You just click on it and then hook your social networks up. If this is the first time you've used it, you will need to be the admin on those social networks in order to hook them up with Constant Contact. All right. In less than an hour, we've learned how to create an email in Constant Contact. We have inserted images. We've modified our text. We've put in a video. We've used a read more button to be able to feature a blog in our email. We've talked about subject lines. We've talked about the from line. We've talked about getting our emails opened by using those and the time that we send. And we've talked about the fact that there are 4 qualities of a really good marketing email. That email needs to be branded. You need to show up as looking like who you are. It needs to be concise. Remember, we're reading them on mobile devices, and on mobile devices, what seems to be a short email can get really long, really fast. Actionable. There needs to be things for people to click and do inside that email because all of those are tracked in Constant Contact. And now you're going to be able to see once the email is sent who has clicked on what and make segmented lists from that if you want to be able to do so. And then finally, valuable. Remember, the number one reason people unsubscribe from an email list doesn't have to do so much with the frequency of the sending, but the content inside the email being valuable and relevant to them. I hope you have enjoyed our webinar today. If you need anything or have any further questions, I'm going to leave the line open for 5 minutes. So feel free to type those in if you would like. I'm going to close the screen and mute my microphone, and you'll have to type them in and I will respond back directly to you. Thank you so much. You will get an email here from GoToWebinar shortly that will have the recording for this particular email attached to it and a link so that you can go ahead and go back and view it. Thank you all for attending and have a great day. Thanks.